merchandise consumption. So are you ready for today? And the way you are looking at me, I'm so unwelcomed. Please, can you smile at least? She's giving me a beautiful smile over there. Yes, she's boosting my vibe right now. All right, please take your seats. Make sure you relocate. Relocate wherever you are. Adjust. Try to talk to somebody, meet somebody new, get the person's contact, and do well to check up on the person. And it's a month now. If you were able to do that, can I see your hands up? That's so beautiful. You know, it's a gift. The gift of life is priceless. We were here last month and here we are today again, basking. And we are all happy to be here today. So what was the theme for last month?
About focus.
Okay, focus simplified. Focus simplified. So last month we talked about focus and what were the major highlights? Or a recap. It's going to be engaging. So even if you are at the registration desk, wherever you are, do pay attention to everything happening here because this is actually the reason why we are here. Thank you. So what was it about last month? There is no point going into this month's edition if we cannot remember what we did last month. Yes, I'm waiting. Should I start calling names? We talked on values, and then we had focus personified, simplified, focus simplified. So who can tell us about focus? Or just something you went home with about last month's edition? Of you, then I move to Lamide. Alright.
Focus is what we face. And you see that our focus.
I didn't get the cross line.
See that focus is what we face. And our values are focus.
Is that all? Alright, next person. Tell us your name before you pick the point.
Good afternoon. My name is Praise. Focus is the art of concentration, determination on a particular goal.
That's a good one. Thank you, thank you. Then one more person. Please tell us.
Talk about the dimensions of focus. Social focus, emotional.
Kindly utilize the name.
Social focus, emotional focus, financial focus, spiritual, physical, and we talked about ways you can like boost your focus. So don't follow the crowd and see the end from the beginning of what you are doing. If you are starting something small, think big and don't see that something small yet, and don't be distracted. Always be positive.
Thank you. That was a beautiful one. So we need to know the attributes of a focused person. If you have an exam and you want to come out in flying colors, what are those things you do to achieve the grade you want? The way somebody who wants an A is going to study is different from a person who just wants to pass the course that, let me not just carry it. You know, that's the person's focus. I don't want to have carryover. Meanwhile, another person, if the person sees B, the person will cry because it's a whole lot to have B to that person. So what are the attributes of a focused person? Please give it to the lady in white.
You will be focused and with positive mind.
Alright, she said you should be focused. She's still using the word focus. But she said, have a positive mindset. Alright, give it to the lady. I think that's the donuts on her head or something.
What you can see in a focused person is that the person will be disciplined in all areas. The person will be disciplined.
Thank you. Thank you, Shuns Gossip. A focused person does not procrastinate and they don't give in to distractions. You see, now, this is a period whereby you don't have to go to distractions. They are always at your fingertips. This phone alone is a tool for distraction. but it depends on the way you want to utilize it. So that was what we did last month, and this month we are going to be having two speakers. One is going to be talking to us on temperament, and the other person is all about purpose. So these are topics I'm so passionate about, and I pay rapt attention when we start talking about temperament, because I've read a lot of Tim LaHaye's book, and when it comes to purpose too, I've read some books on the purpose-driven life. So before we get to that point today, we have some questions, simple questions for you. You know, the other time we were talking on how to be expressive as ladies and girls. We should be expressive. When it is time to say yes, let it be yes. When it is no, let it be no. Not no, no now, no. And you know, you are just catching the person's head because they feel that no is actually yes. They are just shy to admit that it is a yes. So we have some questions, just like a game. So feel relaxed. So we have 1 to 16 questions. So you just choose your number. Then I read out the question to you and the answer. It's as simple as what's your favorite food or your favorite color. It's that simple. But you need to be confident. When you hold this mic, it boosts your confidence. Alright, are we ready? Nobody is ready. Yes. Are we ready? Yes. Okay, we just have like 4 or 5 minutes for that. Please, you need to reshuffle. Let there be some reshuffling. Don't go to this place, not yet. So we need to fill this place and this other side. Thank you, ma. You're welcome. You look so beautiful. Please give her the mic and introduce ourselves to us.
My name is Adejuwo Modupe.
Okay, Adejuwo. How do you like to be addressed?
Modupe.
Modupe, thank you. I'm Caroline. I don't like Caro. So if you call me Caro, I'll just be like, yes. But if you call me Caroline, I'm like, yes. So they are two different things. Alright, so who is ready? Who wants to go first? Just choose from 1 to 16. 1 to 16. Start. Yes.
Choose number 8.
Number 8. What's your favorite thing about being a girl? What do you like the most about being a girl? I would have mentioned your hair, but you are wearing low cuts. So maybe it's not your hair. What's your favorite thing about being a girl? She's thinking, she's processing. Alright, give the mic to the other person. I want you to feel relaxed. I will get back to you, okay? We are still coming back. Yes?
Number 5.
Number 5. Have you ever been caught doing something you shouldn't have been doing? Yeah, she said yeah. Would you like to tell us? Maybe you were supposed to be praying and you were dancing.
Yes. One day I supposed to be reading.
You were supposed to be reading?
Yes.
And you were doing what?
I'm doing another thing.
You were doing another thing. Alright. Thank you. So give it to Modupe. Modupe 1 to 16.
Number 2.
Number 2. Okay. When was the last time you got butterflies and why? When you have butterflies in your belly, something something actually made you super exciting. So what was that? When was the last time?
I can't really remember.
It's been long you got butterflies.
Yes.
Please, can you go outside and get us some butterflies for her? So that she just have more right now.
I can't. I was in secondary school, crushes and all.
Please, the mic.
Okay, that was in secondary school and just crushes and all.
Oh, I guess I've been there. I've been there, yes. Alright, 1 to 16.
10.
10. What are you most attracted to in a guy? Woo! What do you like the most in a guy? These are simple questions. Ask me when I'm asleep, I'll answer you.
Okay.
I like a tall guy.
Aww.
Classic complexion.
Wow.
I mean, a captain. Wow.
Are you serious?
And also dimples.
Are you sure we are not going to get clay? Let's mold him right now and breathe him in into him. Alright, that's what she lies about. Pass it to Florence at the back. That's what she lies about. Don't worry, get your desires. You even exceed your desires. Alright, 1 to 16. Number 1. Number 5. So please use the mic. 5 has been taken. Number 2. When is the last time taken? We have 1, 3, 4, 6. 6. Use the mic. Number. I didn't. What do you dream of always? What do you dream? Something you want to become or something you just wish is happening. Maybe a better life, maybe marriage or kids. About she needs an interpreter to help me, like I cannot tell you at all. Better life, and definitely get it. You get it very, very soon. Alright, thank you. So we need the mic.
The lady who said she wants a better life, I just want to encourage us at this point that, you know, there are times when people ask you a question and your question was not, your answer was not very specific. For example, I may have the intention to help you get a better life, but I don't know a better life in what area. So when we are answering questions, let us be very specific. You never know, you know that opportunities, they're just around us. You just never know when, how. So let's always be prepared. If you want a better life, I mean, if you ask me now, what do I want? I'll tell you I want a better car. I'll be very specific about it. There was one day, let me make you laugh. There was one day, an older mommy of mine, she was just, I've not given you something for Christmas, what do you want? I said 2 things. I want a car and a generator. She said, I said, but you asked me a question. So I'm very careful to be careful to tell you exactly as it is. So next time you want to talk, answer that kind of question. Just be very specific. A better life, maybe in my finance, maybe emotionally, maybe from there you never know what can come up.
I round of applause. Thank you so much. Alright. Mulade, we have 1, 4, 6, 7, 9, 11, 12 to 16, 15. And you have to be deliberate while answering your questions. What's your idea of a perfect weekend?
A perfect weekend.
A perfect weekend. What's your idea of a perfect?
A weekend full of rest and a time out with your family, like an hangout or a picnic. Then a planned week ahead of me.
Very important. Thank you. Okay. Alright, give it to Alright. 1, 4, 6, 7, 9, 11 to 15. What's your favorite thing to do when you are all alone?
Movies.
Movie. Korean film or Filipino movie? Which one?
Anyone.
Wow. That's so relaxing. Thank you. Yes, ma'am. 1, 4, 6, 7, 9, 11 to 14. 13. Most out of character thing you've ever done. Out of character thing you've ever done. That is, how if I were to be the real me, I wouldn't have done that.
To be like someone else.
Sorry?
To be like someone else. Maybe I admired something in that particular person. So I tried behaving like the person, but it didn't work.
I get that. Thank you so much. I think Olamide is the last person. 9, 11, 14. 14. If you could have any talent in the world, what would it be?
Okay, when I was younger, I've always loved watching people dance. So when I got to JS3, I I told my dad. So I went to a dance school for about 2 months. It wasn't enough, so I started working on myself, and now I'm better. So my dream talent is dance.
That's very good, because we are going to be having a dance session after the first speaker.
Wow.
So we would love to welcome you on this stage, but I don't think this stage is big enough. Is it going to be? Can you just work with this stage? Because we really want to see you in this stage. Alright, that's beautiful. Thank you so much, everybody. So we still have a few questions. Maybe after the first speaker has spoken, we would consume everything. So the essence of the question and answer is to get to know you more, and you really can't tell the next person seated beside you. I always say this: that person might be the answer to your long-time prayers. So you have to be as sincere and open as possible, and be deliberate, just like our auntie told us. So I'm going to be inviting Mrs. Adeshoko, my very own auntie, to welcome our speaker.
Good afternoon, ladies and girls in the house. Is everybody old today? What happened? You can see that I'm trying to look like a lady. Can't you see that? Does my gown dress look like one? So what's the difference? Is there any difference between us? Continue. Any difference between us? Maybe I'll just remove this one so that we'll be on the same page. 360, yeah, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the July edition of Girls and Ladies and Girls. I'm so glad you're here. I don't know why you didn't bring your friends this time around. Some of you were here the first time and the second time, and some, I wouldn't know why they are not here. Well, not wasting our time, I want to welcome you all once again. I feel delighted, I'm happy, and I feel fulfilled when I see anyone around, even if it's just a person. So I'm really glad. You know, you make it, and you make my day every time I see any one of you around. Let me put my hands together for all of you. Yes, I have my first speaker. I would say she's my friend. Some of you will be surprised that I'm calling her a friend. Yes, she's a friend. You know, somebody you have a tete-a-tete almost all the time, even on phone call, you know. So I can say she's a friend, and there are values that I've discovered in her before I can give her this talk. Maybe one of these days it might be your turn. But I know any assignment given to her, she will do justice, although she's very shy. Well, I used to think I was the most shy, but when I met her, discovered that I met somebody who could be as shy as I was, or maybe a bit shy than I used to be. I know she's shy, but that notwithstanding, don't mind any other thing. Just listen to her, and I want us to this time around be more focused, because at the end of this hangout, we want to produce ladies and girls that have values, that will go all out there and change their environment, their community, and their family. We've been talking a lot about, having values, focus, and one of the major things that affects us that we might not really understand is our temperament. Some of you just say, that's the way I was born, that's the way they do in my family, that's the way we're wired, or what have you. But that notwithstanding, your temperament can be worked on, but above all, your character. And I'm sure as young ladies and girls, we want to be focused. We want to discover purpose. And that's one of the reasons why we want to be here. Some of us have discovered purpose, but some have not. And we have speakers in the house that will, just take us to, that will nail everything. And at the end of today's hangout, I'm sure you'll be more relaxed than you came. So join me to welcome my friend.
Younger. I have classmates that can talk. There is a particular one among them. Her name is Christiana. By the time you are walking, Christiana will say, "How are you walking like that? Look at you." She can talk. So when I was in secondary school, this girl will usually intimidate me. But it is not her fault. I think the problem was with him at that time. But as time went on, I became her friend. Then I realized that those things she was always complaining about, they were true. Only that she didn't have a better way of putting them. I have another sister. She reads a lot. I also read a lot. So one day I saw a book with her. Excuse me. The reason why you act the way you do seemed like, hey. So I started with the Spirit Controlled Woman. I read almost all the books by this couple. They are two, the man and the woman, the team and the wife. So I started discovering myself. After leaving secondary school, I realized that because I was able to identify my weaknesses and my strengths, by the time I got to the university, I was able to adjust. Even when others were misbehaving, I couldn't do that. Then, anytime I see somebody doing something, I ask them, what's your temperament? And I realize that most people don't even know what temperament is all about. Alright, we have 4 basic temperaments as discovered by psychologists and philosophers. The sanguine, the phlegmatic, melancholic, and the choleric. We also have a blend of these temperaments, but because of time, we won't be able to go through all those ones. But we just want to look at the basic temperaments, their strengths, their weaknesses, and their weaknesses. So, as for you to be able to make the right decisions early in life. I asked myself, why is it really necessary for me to know my temperament? Do you know that by the time you know your temperament, it even helps you to be able to choose a career? Like she asked that question the other time. I didn't know I was going to get that question. But you know that I was actually trying to be like someone else. But I wasn't real. I wasn't comfortable. I would just do it and by the time I'm done, I'm exhausted. I would just be like, who sent you all this? But by the time I was able to discover myself, you can't push me to do anything. By the time you say do this, I will tell you I can't do that. Not because I'm pessimistic. I know my strengths already. So I don't want to struggle in an area where I know I will not be able to function well. But by the time you give me another assignment, I know that I think I can function well in this place, I take it up with joy. That doesn't mean that we should not try new things. Most of the time, we hide behind our temperaments to become lazy and not to come out of our shells. Now, what is the definition of temperament? I have here that temperament is the peculiar or distinguishing mental or physical character determined by the relative proportions of humors according to medieval physiology, according to Merriam-Webster dictionary. You are born with. It is not your fault that you are melancholic, if that is your temperament. It is not your fault that you are choleric, phlegmatic, or sanguine. But the truth is, that is who you are. Those are in secondary school. Who is the father of genetics? The father of genetics. Okay, Mendel Gregor. They have so many things. That's what I'm talking about, genetics, that it is something you are born with. Some of us, we have our parents that can talk. Maybe out of father or mother, maybe your mother can talk and nag, while your father is always quiet. Whether you like it or not, as a child, you are likely to take after either your dad or your mom. You inherited it. It is how you are born. Then before I go on, I said, having a good knowledge of yourself and your temperament will help you to achieve more and even have a better relationship with people. I was listening to the program, and the anchor of the program was talking about the fact that the first thing you have to do and the first step to success in life is self-discovery. By the time you discover yourself, by the time you discover what works for you, you discover everything about yourself. It also includes your temperament. That is the first step of success that you can take. Now I ask myself, is it necessary that I know my temperament? As far back as then, even when I was struggling, I realized that I was still able to choose something that suits my temperament to a level, actually. So for us, especially those of us that we are still young, for those that are much more older, you know, I was reading a story this morning online. A senator, he was called to bar last week. You know, some lawyers were called to bar last week, and he was almost 60. And you know, he was rejoicing. Some people will say, where's his achievement? What has he done? But you know, that man was able to achieve something, even at his old age. But you know, it wasn't so easy for him. But when we are still young, it is easier for us. For example, I can easily correct some things now. She can, you know, it's easier for her to correct some things more than I can correct. Because, you know, the age is there, you know, the experience in life. So that is why when you know your temperament at an early stage in life, it helps your journey. Don't let us talk about spiritual aspects. It helps you to move faster. She was talking about the dream of being a dancer. Yes, last night I was just watching a particular lady. She's so fat, and you know, it's a documentary. She said she has a particular disease that water will pile up in her brain. So she's so big, and you know, and she's a ballet dancer. You know, I was forced to watch that. I said, I want to watch this lady. And you needed to see the way she was moving. And she said that so many people talked to her, they discouraged her, but she never gave up on her dreams. And another thing we should know, even about the temperament, is that because this young lady was able to, and you know, she was crying, and I was also crying too. Don't mind me, I'm like that. When I see you crying, I may not even know the reason why you are crying. I will just join you. So when you are now done crying, so what actually happened? So you know, sometimes it feels so stupid, you know, being an emotional person. So I was crying with her. I don't even know her story. I was crying, like, you know, and you know, when she was saying it, I said, thank God she was able to discover herself early in life. She's just 16 years old. She started dancing at the age of 12. She was discouraged, but she never gave up on her dream. So what I want us to know about temperament is that even when we talk about temperament, you are born with it. But above the temperament is the place of character. We have talked about character, we have talked about focus. We are still going to build on all these things. I have a quote here. Temperament lies behind mood, behind will, lies the fate of character. Then behind both, that is behind both your temperament and your character, is the influence of the family, the timing of your culture, and finally the power of climate and environment. And we are free only to the extent we rise above this. That is the level. No matter your family background, I tell people when they say, my father and my mother, I say, please don't give me that excuse. You don't have power over who gave back to you and where you are born, but you have power over who you become. You know, you have seen so many people that, you know, despite the terrible background, they are able to make something out of their life. So, what I'm saying today is that behind your temperament, behind your character, the level to which you are able to rise above this is the level to which you are free. It says every human being has been uniquely created, possessing certain genetic predispositions to make them look alike, function and behave in certain ways. First described by psychologists and philosophers using the 4 temperaments concepts. Humans often tend to behave in ways depending various situational and contextual factors. We have different things that determine the way we behave. Now, to temperament. It is also an emotional character of the mind of people as shown in their character. Another author describes temperament as a fundamental disposition of the soul, which manifests itself whenever an impression is made upon it. Your temperament is the definition of who you are. We have the 4 basic temperaments, like I've said earlier, but 2 out of these temperaments, we have the introverts, and then we also have extroverts. I said, those studies have shown that humans can possess a combination of 2 temperaments when one is dominant and the other recessive. I think biology students will be able to know this, the recessive and the dominant. You know, in our biology, we were taught that, for example, if your dad or somebody in your family is tall and somebody is an albino, that's why you have two parents. Both of them are black and they give birth to a particular child that is an albino. You know, the man will start fighting, that's not my child. But actually, if you trace it, it has been recessive for a long time. It's just becoming dominant in their own generation. So what we have here is that you can have it can be dominant, we can have the combination of these temperaments, but because of time we are not going to look at that. We are just going to focus on the 4 temperaments. Now I'm moving to sanguine. Enthusiastic, active and social. Anyone with this temperament is an extrovert, quick and strongly excited by slightest impression, but does not last as it soon fades away. They are quick to make friends, but cannot be trusted with secrets. It will always slip out of their mouths. The sanguine, they are the life of the party. If someone that has that temperament should walk in here now, everywhere will become lively. They are the life of the party. They are, I like them. The way they easily engage people. They easily make friends, but they can't keep friends. That's a weakness on their part. But at the same time, we need people with this type of temperament. Everybody cannot be melancholic. Everybody cannot be choleric. Everybody cannot be phlegmatic. The combination of all these temperaments makes the world interesting. And I'm moving on to the next one because we are still going to look at a chart. Choleric is independent, decisive, and goal-oriented. Someone that is choleric is also an extrovert, and also the person also reacts quickly. He said the impression lasts a long time and easily induces new excitement. That's someone that is choleric. We are still going to look at the chart. I don't know. Do we have the handout? I think we should have the handout. Analytical, excuse me, goal-oriented, deep thinker, and feeler. Practices with ease and enjoy in serious. Always suspicious and don't trust people easily. Easily falls into depression, loses confidence in fellow people. That is melancholy. Then the last one, that is phlegmatic, relaxed, peaceful, and quiet. This temperament exhibits a level of calmness that others may see as sluggishness or laziness. They are not quick in making decisions, but take their time before doing anything. They can't be pushed into anything and are always sometimes known to be stubborn or strong-willed. When we look, now let's look at the charts. Please, if you have them, study easier and faster. Sanguine, the choleric, the phlegmatic, and the melancholic. As much as we study this, let's note that there is no end to the study of temperament. Like I was told, like I read, let me put it that way, that there is no end so broad. Alright, I'm going to look at the sanguine, the choleric, the phlegmatic, and the melancholic. And we have the strengths of the sanguine. We can just read them one after the other. Alright. The strengths. Let's focus on the sanguine now. The strengths and the weaknesses. Sociable. That means they want to be, they just want to go for parties. I have friends like that. Anytime there is a party, anytime there is a wedding, she wants to go. Lola wants to be there. She will say, Rebecca, there is a party, let's go. I said, I'm not going anywhere. She just wants to be out there. They mix with people easily. It is not stressful for them. It comes naturally to them. I said that they are charismatic, they are outgoing, confident, warm-hearted, pleasant, lively, optimistic, a fun lover, spontaneous, preventer of dull moments, quick, apologizer, and easy friend maker. These are the strengths of the sanguines. They are optimistic. Even when they are seeing danger ahead, you still see them, they are still optimistic. Because that is who they are. Then the weakness, impulsive, chronically late, shameless, forgetful, compulsive, talkative, too loud, sometimes too happy, distracted, not interested in following through with tasks, they are that is boring, self-absorbed, exaggerator, someone who appears unauthentic. I've lived with someone like that. I call her Esther. Do you know that every of our birthday, where I lived in a hostel, every of our birthday, you are sure you are going to get love letters. Every one of us, love letters, not a letter now. You know, you just by your bedside, where your Bible is, you know, that's how she is. And you know, it comes easily. Every one of us, we always look forward to celebrating something. And when any of the sisters in the house is getting married, she will be the one to plan the, what do we call it now, bridal shower, you know, everything, she's there. But you know that there is another sister that is melancholy. So anytime Esther is doing her own, Chidima is there, saying that, what's even wrong with her? Why is she always like this? You know, but because I've discovered, I said, Chidima, for the fact that you can't do this, does not mean you should, how will I put it down? You should now talk her down or discourage her. That's what she wants to do. And you know, sincerely speaking, Esther has published her first book. She's a motivational speaker in Abuja today. Because that is who she is. You know, I didn't think she had allowed her roommates, and they were actually roommates, to discourage her. You know, maybe she will be in a corner like this, trying, and you know, she will just imagine things. But you know, when she sent the book to me, you know, I was happy. And when I was speaking with Chidima earlier this morning, I said, hope you are hearing from Esther. She said, Esther is not a big madam, oh. I smiled. You know, that look at what that girl has become. Because of her temperament, she was able to discover herself, and she was able to do so many. She's able to do so many things with that. Then to the choleric, they are also extroverts, just passionate, leader-like, focused, efficient, practical, good at planning, problem, and then good at problem solving, confident, motivator, delegator, usually right. Great in an emergency. And you know, when you look at the choleric, it's almost close to sanguine, but they are not the same thing. Then to the weaknesses, aggressive, domineering, inflexible, impatient, rude and tactless, argumentative, unable to relax, excuse me, uncomfortable around emotion, low on empathy, discouraged by failure, too busy for people, intolerant, a leader who demands loyalty. Typical Donald Trump. Donald Trump will just give it to you, he's done. And you know, when I was reading some comments online, the man said, Donald Trump has presented himself as someone who can do this, and he has shown Americans that he's not worthy to be a president. You understand? Donald Trump will give it to you. You know, the way the man was attacking Nigerians, I realized that this is who Donald Trump is. You know, unapologetic about his comments. By the time he says it, he has said it, whether he's right or wrong. And then, I want to look at some of their roles. They are leaders, producers, and builders. And then the sanguine, you see them as actors, salespersons, and speakers. Most of our bankers, except few of them, most of them are sanguine, especially as ladies. They know how to market. Just give them something to market for you. This Esther, when I was in family house, anytime I need to sell something, when we go for evangelism, I will just give it to her. She will sell everything. Me, I will just produce behind the scene. Esther will help me market it, and that is all. So can we see that these are temperaments, no matter the weakness or the strength of anything of our background, it has a lot to do with us. Then the phlegmatic, they are relaxed, they are quiet and calm, content with themselves, they are kind, they are consistent, they are steady and faithful friends, accepting, affectionate, diplomatic, peacemaking, rational, curious, observant, and easy friend maker. They may not be quick to make friends, but when you have them as friends, you are sure of their loyalty. I've seen someone like that the person doesn't have more than 2 friends. You know, the first friend, right from university 100 level, the second friend when she went, and you know, she doesn't even have the opportunity or the capacity to accommodate the third person, because she's already feeling as if she's betraying 2 of her friends. So that is someone that is phlegmatic. They just don't keep so many friends. But a sanguine, That is when you see them on their wedding days, most especially when they are on their wedding. Confetti, cheap brides, you know, everywhere will be full because they make friends. Whereas someone that is phlegmatic can only keep 1 or 2 friends, and they are, you know, they are passionate, they are easygoing, and sometimes even people see them as someone that is lazy or stubborn, because when they have an opinion about something, they hold on to it. Then the melancholic, the strength, they are thoughtful, considerate, cautious, organized, excessive planner, schedule-oriented, detailed, highly creative in poetry, art and invention, independent, good at preventing problems. These are the strengths of melancholics. Why do they do that? They are always on their own. They enjoy their privacy. Most of the time, when you see someone that is melancholic in nature, they don't have friends. You know, for them, 3 is a crowd. So many times. Because they just feel that you are talking too much. Okay, let me use myself as an example. When I was growing up, my sister, she has friends. She's an extrovert. So anytime any of our friends come into our house, by the time I notice that the person has said like 3 sentences in 1 minute, I will just get up. I'm going. You say, that's your sister, why is she going in? Because I feel that you are talking too much. But do you know that it should be something it is something that my sister appreciates in people like that, because she likes it when, you know, when you talk, and you know, I will ask her, are you not tired of talking? Like what I'm doing right now, I will tell people that by the time I'm done now, I'm exhausted. You can be sure I'm exhausted. You know, before coming up, I was like, Rebecca, you know, but the truth is, I have known this to be a weakness. Yes, we can modify it, though we may not be able to entirely change the nature in us. That is the temperament. Because by the time you try to be an extrovert, except you have the combination. That is why I said earlier that we have the combination of the 2 or more temperaments. That, you know, someone is sang melak, you know, and you know, they have the combination that sometimes they are like this, sometimes they are like that, and they enjoy it. They are just sweet, they are good, yeah. Then the weaknesses of the melancholic, they are obsessive, too cautious, prone to depression, prone to moodiness, perfectionist, pessimistic, difficult to please, deeply affected by tragedy, a person with tunnel vision, sometimes procrastinator, discontent with themselves and others, prone to play the martyr. Something happened earlier this week. I was supposed to give a speech. And sincerely speaking, you know, before the particular day, before the day of the event, I was supposed to, but because I was sick earlier, I have a bad phone. I forgot completely to send the speech to my phone. And you know, on that day, by the time Caroline was saying that somebody's speech, I did like this. I just shook my head. It was then that I remember that I was, you know, I felt so bad. You know, I didn't like myself. So the second day, a day after, my boss now confronted him that, what happened to your speech? But you know, on a normal day, I was supposed to say, but the first word I used was, I'm sorry. Because I was so embarrassed that I felt like God. Then I saw a trace of being melancholic that, you know, I was almost depressed on that day. Because I just, you know, for example, someone asking you for something that you have been told to do, you know, a long while ago, and you remember at that particular time, I saw another trace of temperament in me. So what I'm trying to say is that this temperament, it affects us, whether we like it or not, and it affects the decisions we make. Then I said, as we grow older, I have a quote here, as we grow older, we should learn that these are 2 quite different things. Character is something you forge for yourself. Temperament is something you are born with and can only slightly modify. Some people have easy temperaments and weak characters. Others have difficult temperaments and strong characters. We are all prone to confuse these 2 in assessing people we associate with. Those with easy temperaments and weak characters are more likable and admirable. Those with difficult temperaments and strong characters are more admirable than likable. That is to say that character is something. Like, for example, we have talked about character. Like, for example, excellence. What other character do we have? Can we possess? Please let's answer now. Okay? What other character can we possess as girls or as ladies? If we don't talk, we are not going anywhere. I'm a teacher. What other character can we have?
No.
Eh? What lecture?
Love.
Ma?
Speak up.
What characters can we possess? What character do you have? Let's talk about what is character. I think we've talked about that was our first lecture. Values. What type of values? You answered that question, Adi. Yes. Please, someone Adi. Ma? Values. Okay.
Please, can you? You said gratitude.
Actually, that's what I'm waiting for. Gratitude.
Okay.
But do you know that you can have your siblings may not have that value? That means you intentionally and deliberately develop it. That is what I'm talking about. That character is something we forge for ourselves. I can decide to have it, integrity. That no matter what people commit to my hands, I will be transparent. These are the things that we can forge for ourselves. It's what makes a character. That is part of what we describe as a character. Whereas a temperament is something you are born with.
Yes.
You cannot just say that I'm an introvert, so now I want to be an extrovert. You are born with it. You can only slightly modify it and improve on it. Alright, I want to go to something else. I said, why do we need to talk about my character, my temperament? Knowing your strengths and your weaknesses gives you a better opportunity in life. Also, it increases your potential and creativity. It helps to improve on one's negative traits. You know that you have the tendency to be depressed. You can consciously and deliberately say that I'm not going to be depressed. That means you already see the negative traits in you, and at the same time you are working towards it and saying that even when you have situations, even when events that normally should make you depressed, you consciously tell yourself that I'm not going to be depressed. So that means when you know your temperament, it helps you to make good decisions in life. It helps you to choose a career. That is why I'm emphasizing on the younger ones. That when you know your temperament, you are able to choose a career that fits that temperament. And you just see yourself blending, and you are enjoying yourself in that particular career or in that particular thing you are doing. When you see some people, this particular lady, Kafi, I don't know if you know her, Kafi, the dancer. I think she got into the Guinness Book of Records for dancing for how many hours? Answer me. Either 24 or something hours. That is who she is. And that lady can talk. Now imagine if Kafi is a lawyer or a medical doctor, or someone that has to stay somewhere. That is why, when you see people that they discover themselves early in life, and they walk in that path. But I'm still emphasizing that irrespective, yes, I put something in. I said irrespective of your temperament, people have expectations of you. For example, anywhere you find yourself, there is something I'm expecting from Omotoyo. If she now said, but me, my temperament, I don't like to do it. I have a boss. She's there. Irrespective of your temperament, she doesn't care. As far as you do what she has asked you to do, and you do it excellently. And you know when you give her anything lesser than that, you are sure that the next time she won't give you, she will just move on to the next person. That means there is no room for excuse. That's what I tell myself. That in any time something is committed into my hands, there is no room for excuse. It's either you reject it immediately or you accept it and give it all it takes to be able to do something excellent. I said, people have expectations of you and will never take your temperament as an excuse. And you should not allow your temperament make you perform below what you are endowed with. You may not be able to change your temperament, but you can work on your attitude or your character. Character is something you forge for yourself. Temperament is something you are born with and can only slightly modify. I have a quote here. I think we judge talents wrongly. What do we see as talent? I think I have made the same mistake myself. We judge talents by people's ability to strike a cricket ball, the sweetness, the timing. That's the only thing we see as talent. Things like determination, courage, discipline, temperament are also talent. When we talk about determination, that is why the first quote that I put there earlier, I said that people that have strong character and weak temperament, they are likable more than admirable. Whereas people that have weak character and strong temperament, they are just likable more than admirable. Which is to say, even when you have a weak character, even when you have a weak temperament, but you have a very good character, you have good values, people will definitely admire you. But by the time you have a strong character, a strong temperament, and you have no character, you have no values, people will just look at you and nobody will respect you. So that is to tell us that irrespective of your temperament, irrespective of what you feel like or what you are made of, you have power to choose whether to channel that temperament in the right path or to just sit and continue to nurse that temperament. I say, I'm melancholic, so people should know that I'm like that. I'm phlegmatic. Me, I'm sanguine, I will talk. Anyway, I find myself, I will talk. Sometimes, when I see before now, when I see when they are talking, they are just too loud for me. When I see people that can talk and talk and talk, I will just be quiet. My sister is a sanguine. When she's talking, if she gets to the point, she said, Tolu, oh, madam, Monataro. I said, And do you know that I didn't know that I wasn't asking? I was just like, what is who I have been? I said, yes, please, who doesn't understand Yoruba? Sorry, what did you say? But now I begin to appreciate them. I begin to like them more. I begin to, to tolerate them, knowing that, the blend of these characters, the blend of these temperaments, make a butterfly. A phlegmatic is compared to a turtle, while melancholy is compared to a beaver. A turtle, we all know, the family of tortoise, they are just slow, they are slow to make decisions, they are slow to do things. A sanguine, that is a butterfly, they are everywhere, all over the place. I said, when it comes to priority, for someone that is choleric, all they need is for the task to be completed, and then they have relationship with people, friendship. Whereas someone that is melancholy will process things for a long time. I said that when it comes to their basic aims in life, a choleric will say what? Get it done. Whereas a sanguine is having fun. A phlegmatic will say, I'm taking it easy. The person is just sluggish. They are always in their shells. They are not quick to make decisions. And melancholic, we say just do it right. And then when it comes to their fears, someone that is a sanguine doesn't like to lose control or be in control of anything. And then And then a phlegmatic does not like to be confronted. I know some of you, you know, right now in your mind, you are like, okay, how do I feel when people confront me with something I've done wrong? You know, they just don't like to be confronted with you have done something wrong. They don't like confrontations. They just, immediately you confront them, you will just see them, they enter into their shells. Whereas, someone that is melancholic, the fear is that they don't want to be embarrassed because of their imperfections. I can't speak good English, I don't want people to know. I can't dance well, I don't want people to know. I don't even know how to sing, I don't want people to know. You know, they are afraid of being embarrassed because of their imperfections. And the truth is this, nobody is perfect. We all have our own form of imperfections. So it's just for you to accept who you are and work on it. Then when we are under pressure, how does a choleric person, how does that person react? Is sarcastic, is critical, is blunt. You know, they just talk, they step on toes. Sanguine too, they do that. When you are under pressure, you know, they step on toes of people unconsciously. And you know, by the time they step on toes, the effect of what they have said or what they have done, you know, it stays for a long time. Though they are always quick to apologize. But you know, for example, if someone that is, let's say I'm sanguine, and this my lady is melancholic. You know, maybe when we are having something, and you know, I just talk that, why are you so sluggish? Because she's melancholic. She will keep that at the back of her mind for a long time. Do you know I've forgotten that I've said that because of my temperament? I'm sanguine. By the time you know, but why are you doing like this? And I say, you know, most of the time they don't even talk. They don't even talk on time to let you know that this is what you have done wrong. So you just see them, you know, by the time you now press, so what happened? My sister, because you told me that I'm sluggish, you know, you feel like, when did I actually say that? I'm sanguine, I forgot. So it is just to tell us that when we are under pressure, there are certain ways we act and we react to people. And then for sanguine, they are superficial, unrealistic, and inconsistent. Whereas phlegmatic is a grudge holder, submissive, and indecisive. And melancholy is critical and bulk person. So what motivates them? Challenges motivate choleric, freedom, power, rewards. Whereas sanguine, people to talk to, freedom from details, recognition. And that is the truth. They love to be recognized. Sanguine, they love to be recognized. Whereas choleric, just give them gifts. They are good to go. And then for phlegmatic appreciation, just say thank you. It goes a long way. I'm like that. Just tell me thank you. I'm okay. I don't need your gifts. You understand? But for some other person, even if you say thank you and you have not heard this mic to say, I want to appreciate Oluwarebeka, Tolulope for the effort, but you know, that is for the person. But for some other person, for someone else, a thank you, a gift is okay. And then for melancholic, exact job description, time to check, and so many things that just thank you. These are the differences, and the differences that we have in the temperament. But the truth still remains that we cannot exhaust the study of temperaments. Because even as I was looking at it, I thought I was ready. By the time I went online, I saw something, you know, I noticed that there's something again that I've not seen. But the truth is this: know your temperament. Know even when you have a combination of two temperaments. I have like sang and choleric and sag, male sag. You know, we have different combinations. That is why I said when we have the combination of one or two temperaments, one will definitely be dominant, while the other is recessive. Dominant in the sense that one of the temperaments, you know, people will easily see it, while the one that is recessive, people may not even know you have it. But until there is an opportunity or there is a situation, for example, some people will say, I don't get angry. It's because something has not actually happened that will make them angry indeed. You know, some people say, I don't get angry at all. I used to think like that. But when I get to the position where I have to deal with people in the real sense, I notice that, oh, you can get angry. So we can see that all this, the one will be recessive, except there is a situation that we ask for it. You may not even know you have it yourself. So I think these are the little things so far that I have on temperament. So if you have any question, we can ask.
You made mention that we can have two combinations of temperament. How can we control one? Angry and also be melancholy. So how can you deal with it?
Control it, but you can only modify. Modify in the sense that you can only react and be deliberate. That was why I started with you with the word that you have to be deliberate and intentional about it. You already know that you have the tendency to be depressed, but people may not even know that you are depressed. And you know, even studies have shown that most people that are depressed don't know they are depressed. You understand? But the truth is that you can only work on it and try to tell yourself that this is not going to happen. It's still there, but as situation demands, you work on it. But because it is your nature, that is why I said the one that is recessive, you may not even know. Even when you know it, you just take, how will I put it? You take conscious efforts to how will I, is it, you can't control. You can control, but it cannot die. So you can only take conscious efforts to work on it, yes, improve on the stress, and try to channel your energy on away from the weaknesses and work on it. You work more on the stress, whereas those weaknesses, but there is nothing you can do about your temperament. It is who you are, except you will become someone else. You want to become someone else.
I'd like to contribute to what she said. First and foremost, thank you, Rebecca. You see, when she was saying I'm shy, and she got there now, no break, no jam. She just went on. Please, let's give her a round of applause. I want to answer your question in a very practical way, using myself as an example, so that we can bring it closer home. I'm not an expert when it comes to all this temperament and all this stuff, but I know about it. But looking at this, I would say that I'm melancholic. And one of the, it has its strengths, it has its weaknesses. One of the weaknesses I was able to identify about myself, I'm more of an introvert. I like to be by myself. I don't like too many friends. I keep my circle very small. Why? Because when I have a friend, I pour out too much of myself into my relationships. So I don't want to run myself too thin. My temperament will not handle having too many friends. Whereas there are people who will successfully do that. But I have been able to identify that I cannot do it. Because I want to be your friend, and I want to be your friend. That's just me. So one of the weaknesses is that there is a tendency to be depressed. There is a tendency for you, if you are not careful, you want to be a people pleaser. You are a perfectionist. And so you want everything done perfectly. Because you want to be by yourself. I realized that growing up, especially after I got married, and I started to discover more of myself, I just want to be by myself. And then I had to work on that particular weakness. I was very shy, and I just will avoid being around people. In fact, I will avoid looking into your eyes. I will avoid greeting you. Don't greet me, just go on your own. So if our eyes don't lock, I have just walked away perfectly, as if it was a problem. But people started, pointing it out. And people were seeing it from a different perspective. I was shy. People were seeing she was snob, a snob. What people were seeing was different from who I was. People were seeing a proud person who was a snob, who was full of herself. And then when the comments started becoming too much, I sat down one day and I asked myself, who exactly are you? Okay, you are shy. I said, but people say you are proud. People say you are snobbish. Is that who you are? I said, I was asking myself and I was answering. And I said, no. I said, so why are people saying so? Because I don't greet people. I was able to identify that. I will avoid greeting you. Not because it will cost me anything, but because I just want to be left alone. And then I asked myself, what will it cost you to greet? Nothing. So gradually, I started making a conscious effort. I was very intentional about it. I knew it was a weakness, and the weakness was rubbing off on a negative way. Because if you had asked somebody, that person is she's full of herself, she's proud, she's this. Whereas I wasn't that. So it takes you trying to consciously work on your weaknesses. Now, because I realize the tendency to be depressed, I mix more now. I talk more now. Maybe some years ago now, in this kind of gathering, I probably would have been sitting there. I didn't want to be noticed. I didn't want to be heard. I just wanted to keep to myself. So there is a way, there is a dominant one, and then there is a repressive one, like Rebecca said. So we have to find out which one do we need to work on. Because life is a journey, we keep evolving. You are a different, you must evolve, you must be a different person from who you were yesterday. Not because you are trying to be someone else, but because you are trying to change into a better version of you. So we just need to make a conscious effort to work on those weaknesses. Those strengths, they're already there. They also need you to work on them, but not as much as you need to work on those weaknesses. Since I know that I have a tendency to be depressive, I have a tendency for you to hurt me and I won't talk. But it's within me. I'm holding it. I'm trying to tell myself, I'm forgiving you. But it's somewhere there. So now I learn to talk about it. I learn to open up and say, I don't like what you did to me. So from way back secondary school to who I am now, I'm a totally different person. I'm still who I am, but I am a changed person. I hope that has helped you.
You have to go to somebody, collect the person's number. Can you please do that again? You did it 16 years. So that is to tell us that just meeting people, you know, Mrs. Olari, why you have said it now, just meeting people, you know, for some people it's a problem. But please, just work on your temperament. Tell yourself you can be better. I know, that's what I tell myself, I can be better. And you really change. That is to tell us that we are growing. If you are still that same kind of person that you used to be years ago, and you are still the same person, probably you are not growing. Or maybe there is nothing that has changed about you. I pray God, okay, let's work on ourselves more and more. Thank you.
A standing ovation for her. Let's keep clapping, let's keep clapping, let's keep clapping. Thank you so much, Ma. That was scintillating.
Thank you.
It was. Take your seat. I enjoyed that session. I enjoyed it. It was sweet. And it brought back a lot of memories, and I'm a deep thinker. So I started thinking from way back, the journey so far and everything, you know. But I have some questions here, because the essence of this session on temperament is a journey into self-discovery. You need to discover yourself, you need to understand yourself before you can translate that into every other person around you. Every member of my family, I know their temperaments. And I'm like one of in fact, like the only person who hardly fights with any member of my family. If you ask my siblings, they're like almost a dozen. If you ask them their favorite sibling, they would always say, it's me, it's me, it's me. It's not a game, it's not I just know them. I have one of them who calls me, and after 1 hour or 5 minutes, she tells me, secondly, I feel like, yeah. You know, once she starts calling, I'll make sure I've tidied up everything I plan to do for that day. It's a serious business. Put the phone on speaker and just rest my head like this because I know it's going to be endless. You know, so that's it. But I appreciate her. I love her. Just the way she is. So now, have you been able to discover your temperament? From today's lecture, have you been able to discover your temperament? Yes or no? Yes. If you say yes, please shout yes.
Yes.
If you say no, say no. Please be sincere to yourselves. No, thank you. And she was a bit late. Maybe that's why she's on the no side. I'm very sure she's not the only person. So you need to know your temperament. You need to know why you act the way you do. And also, it's very important for you to know where you draw your strength. Do you draw your strength from gatherings, from having your friends around? Or you draw strength from when you are just alone in your room? So, by the time you discover where you draw your strength from, you'll discover if you're an introvert or you're an extrovert. If you like this kind of gathering, sincerely yours, I really appreciate those of you here. Me, I would actually not be here. I would prefer staying at home, trying to like read a book or do something very, even if it's not meaningful. I prefer it to, it's a lot to dress up and be here today. A round of applause for yourself. I appreciate you. That's the strength of it. Left to me, I would not be here. I would choose to just be at home, busy doing nothing. I prefer it to actually be here. Also, yes, there's something important I want us to know. Do you know that some people, growing up, they were extroverts, and along the line they became introverts? What has happened? Have you been in such shoes before? Have you? Okay. Sometimes it is maturity, and most often it is like life challenges. Life challenges makes you transition from being an introvert to an extrovert. Aside your job description, like me, I speak now, and you know, because my job demands I talk from the moment I sign in. I must talk till the moment I'm signing out. And you see all these salespeople, all these realtors, all of those people, they talk and talk and talk. Sometimes when they get home, they're exhausted. Because that is not, it is just their job that is making them act as an extrovert. So, no matter the life challenges you are going through, don't let it define who you are. Don't let it take off your essence. That essence, that thing that has been inherent in you. Please, let's try to deal with it, and you do exploits with it. So, firstly, discover if you're an introvert or you're an extrovert. And now we are hearing that some people are omniverts and ambiverts and all of those things, you know. It's a whole lot. So please go back home, study extensively on temperament, and you do well with it. By the time you see the way some people eat, the way they talk, the way they stand, you know, some girls will stand like this. It's very, very uncomfortable for me because you have to like keep it close, you get. Yes. So by the time you see the way some people sit, the way they stand, you'll be able to tell that this person, if you see sanguine, they are just anyhow. But if you see choleric or melancholy, they are like this, upright. So you will discover people's temperament by those little things. It means a lot. So we are going to have a break, a 3 or 4 minute break, interlude, and we want to welcome Olamide to lead the stage in dancing, and some of us will join her. Those of us that want to learn how to dance. Yes, please. Thank you.
My
Please put in your best. The next edition is going to be a gift for the best dancer. Please watch, you are going to judge it.
She wants a gangster in a bed tonight. She wants me, I know. And when I full ground me a day tonight. She a calling my phone. She say why me so unruly. Tell me the main reason you want me. The man with a ED. Curious girl, she got questions for Siri. We got that booty and wine for me. So crazy, you driving me. Girl, you put it on me nicely. She riding it, I'm sliding it. Spread out to legs slightly. Oh, mama spread them so widely. Caribbean girl won't die for me. She have to die for me, yeah. Bounce your body away, bounce you out. Get it go down, not to south. Show you real, I know fish out, yeah. Bounce your body away, bounce you out. I'm on no scream, no to shout, yeah. No louder, no louder. Like that boy, me not fear that. Me, I'm like money and they smell like meat. Still I come for you every day flaunting. You don't buy the money, they not anything. Burning the midnight with the reason. And I cock me rifle just to ease her. Gina, better quickly stop the teaser. Give what belongs to Caesar, to Caesar. We go that. Lip kiss, lip kiss. If you don't get money, you know no master, no master. If you did your pakuruma, the weekend producer like in the mall. See what it is, Rokodomo, baby, the other down. Boya, my sherry, Bakule, my sherry, Mumini, baby, baby, Boya, my sherry, Bakule, my sherry, Mumini, baby, baby. How do you do? Show my family. Oh, let me see. I don't mind. Why shall I shout? Show my family. Let me see.
so much. So let's Gloria, waka or stay? Stay. Lamide, waka or stay? Stay. Whoa, so they are both staying. We need just one winner. Who are we going for? We don't see both of them. They are both winners. A round of applause for them. Thank you so much. They don't go to club. So when you get gathering like this, just like express yourself. Let it all out. I know there are a lot of talent residing on the seats. On the seats, there are a whole lot of talent. Some people are already dancing with their head. They are just trying to hold it back. But then, very important for you to let it out. Alright, so we quickly move to the next stage. And I'm fully prepared for the next stage. Are you prepared? Don't worry, it's not going to be boring and we are not going to take your time. So we move to the next stage and it's going to be on purpose. We are going to be having a speaker. I've known this speaker since I've known my auntie, because every time auntie is doing something and I'm like, why are you doing this like this? You know, she'll be like, me there too much show, why won't see me? You know, and I've been longing to meet her. The last time she came around, I was not there still. So today is a very happy day for me to finally meet this woman. Auntie is super organized. She is. To a fault. You know, sometimes I feel, why is she restless? Why is she doing this now? This thing is not bad like this. But if her hands get on it, she'll start afresh. She'll scatter everything and start afresh. And sometimes it gets really tiring for me. But I've come to accept her and love her like that. And at the end of the day, she's an excellent person. Everything about her is excellent. And in that excellence, I talk to her and she tells me there's still a superior being somewhere that is better. That is like, if you see my auntie, I went late, you know, I've heard a whole lot about her. And today she's finally here. And I'll be inviting my own auntie to come and introduce her own auntie, who is going to be our mutual auntie.
Yeah, good afternoon once again, everyone. Yeah, I'm happy to see you all. I think we have more people in the house again. Thank you all for coming. Like I said earlier, I won't forget that. Anytime I see you, even if it's just one person, you know, I feel fulfilled, I feel delighted, because it's what I love to do. I like to see younger people around me and older people that I look up to. So I'm glad you're here. Put your hands together for yourself. And let me put my hands together for you. Welcome. I don't know why some of you are shy. And do you notice that they are shy? I don't know why you are shy. The last hangout was better. I think before I come to everybody will have to dance. You have to shake it. Even if you don't know how to dance, maybe that day will be a dance instructor. That day you come on stage, be a dance instructor. Go this way, go this way. We just follow suit. Or maybe Gloria. So the two of you, or you have to come out and teach us how to do it so that we can dance. Is that okay? Or do you do the church dance? And your sound holder. Some of you are singing already. You there? You know what? I just want us to be more relaxed. Let's have it down. DJ, let's bring it down. Okay? So, please let's be free. The most important thing is that I want us to be ourselves. And there's a question I want to ask us. You know, after the first speaker, I want to say thank you to the first speaker. That means to do Dr. Rebecca. I really, you know, once you give her that assignment, you are good to go. I want to say thank you to you. She did a very good job, isn't it? Yes. Or she didn't do so well? Yeah, she did a very good job, and that was excellent. I think I like that. That was excellent. Thank you very much. But more on temperament, I want us to, as much as possible. And when I was chatting with her yesterday, we were discussing something, and that point I want to lay emphasis on is that your temperament is not as important as your character. You can work on your character, even if your temperament and the strength. But from today's talk, we can see that
the positive aspects of our temperament should be worked on. And we must be intentional and be deliberate about the weak aspect of our temperament. It is very, very important. Please, let's try as much as possible to work on ourselves, because the major reason why we're here is to be a better us. Is to make sure we have values that we can, that's not even sufficient for us, that we have more than enough even to pass to others. And you know, if you come for a hangout like this, you must look for something new that you want to add to yourself. It's not enough to tell you that I'm made. Some, I don't know whether it's in the temperament, they don't have a particular thing, but they pretend as though they have it. So by forming who they are not, then everybody will believe they are super. And even while they are listening, some people are even good at deceiving themselves. Isn't it? Have you met people like that? They even deceive themselves. And when they wear a red shirt, they say, oh, this is a blue. They can deceive themselves to that extent. Let's be ourselves, let's be natural, let's be ready to learn. Let's have a teachable heart. And by the time you do, you discover that you are getting from whoever is coming us to speak. Is not what matters, but the content of what the person has to say. Not even the content at times, that this stage or level I am this month, I want to come up by next week, 2 weeks time, in 1 month, a better person. And it is very, very important. Like I keep telling people, the only person you are competing with is who? Yourself. You want to be a better version of who you are today, tomorrow. And that is very, very important. So I want us to, now I want to introduce the assignment. Sorry. My assignment, I want to introduce my auntie. Auntie Fumi. I call her Auntie Fumi. I call her Auntie Fumi. Yes, that's what your name reads on my phone. She's Auntie Fumi. She's my auntie, and I got attached to her over 20 years ago. So many years ago. I think more than that. 1998. Maybe 97, 98. Thereabout. I'm sure some of you will know born. Isn't it? Yes. So you see that it's a long time. Because I decided that she's going to be my mentor, I decided, and because of that, even if she doesn't call me, I will call her. I'll be auntie, tell me when I'm lying. Just tell them that that's not true. Even when she doesn't call me, because I discovered that when I'm able to discover values and virtues in somebody, when I want to look up to someone, I know that I'm the one that needs something and I should be around her. Even when we lose contact, I'll go back and I'll make sure I keep checking on her, because every time I spend with her, if we're talking, even if we talk on the phone for maybe 5 minutes, my heart is open for correction, and I want to get something new. Anytime I go, until the first time I visited your house, your new place, I saw a curtain in the kitchen. I told you it was nice. And after I left, I discovered that the curtain, I've forgotten how the pattern is. So the last time I visited recently, I don't know what, I think I met you at the kitchen. Okay, so I checked it. I didn't even pay attention to it. When I got home, I said, this curtain. I would have told Auntie to, I would have actually gone close to check how she did it. But you know what? I just went on the machine, cut it, and I started. You saw the new curtain in the kitchen. Yes, sir. So anytime, I discovered that after sewing it, I didn't get it. So next visit, a picture this time around to be more detailed and intentional, so that I can actually have that curtain. And I wanted to make it myself. And then if I asked her, okay, how she went about it, she will always say, tell me and maybe do it for me. But no, I want to do it myself, and I want to because I like it. I'm around her, and I'm excited, and I want to learn something. So many times she doesn't even know that I'm learning, but I want to learn something. Even with the unspoken words, I want to say something. And the first thing that got me close to her is her simplicity and the way she goes around where we met. But the day I went to her house, she has young kids there. I think 5, 3, And for somebody to be married and have small children, and the house is neater than where we are. Can you imagine? Because normally you'd be like, the children have started everywhere. The sitting room, the kitchen, everywhere is on point, and everything is in place. And I marvel that how can someone, that was one of the things that, got me attacked to her, that if somebody is raising kids, I think I've grown up to see people raising small children and like, àwọn ọmọ ti ta lérù, àbẹ̀ṣe máa fomi lò nìyẹn o, the sitting room is dirty, the children are just mobile, and and then I noticed something, that they don't shout. They don't shout in the house. I think I told you this before. It's like they almost, I've never told you. It's like they almost whisper, in the house. They don't shout, they don't yell. And yet, the house is going fine. So there are so many qualities I've seen in her. And that's one of the reasons I'm bringing her up. I know I can't do this all alone without bringing her. Because I say, when people tell me that, you don't want me to talk again, I don't stand up again now. I don't stand up. So, she's a super person. I'm not flattering. That is who she is. I know she doesn't like it when I'm saying that. So I want to bring up my auntie, Mrs. Fumilayo Olariwaju. Thank you very much. That was, if I allowed her, I know she would go on and on and on. And really isn't that. Okay, so I want us to be relaxed. Really, 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 I want us to be relaxed. If you need to move out, if you feel you are seated too close to someone, there are other chairs. You can just decide to pick wherever you want to sit. Yeah, I noticed. Yeah, you can just pick wherever you want to sit and just be free and be relaxed. I think that Rebecca had set a foundation for what I am about to talk about. And truly, when my Aburo, when she said on my phone it is Auntie Fumimi, on my phone it is also Biodun me. So it's a mutual thing. And I think it's important in life for us to find the right people that we connect with. Everybody is not your person. Find your own tribe. Find your own people. Find your own. That person that you know that, okay, this person will correct me in love. This person will rebuke me. This person will not hold back anything from me. The same way she is loving me is the same way she is also rebuking me. And she has my back. She wants the best for me. I mean, I have a sister who has never met Biodun. She's in the UK. But when I'm saying something and she says Biodun Abi, she already knows Biodun. Just like she also said she had never met me, but she has heard so much about me. So Rebecca has, let's just dive into it. Rebecca has laid a very good and strong foundation about our temperament. And I think that is the starting point. When you are able to identify what your temperament is, it becomes easier for you to identify who exactly you are. Your temperament may not totally be you. There are other things that will combine together to make you who you are. And one of the reasons why we're learning about this is when you are yourself. I mean, everybody who comes around me knows that I just like to be myself. I don't know how to pose. I don't know how to be fake. I just like who I am. But I wasn't like that all my life. I mean, I think when I was a teenager, that's my story. As a teenager, I'm the last of 5 children, and my immediate older sister, she's very pretty, she's dark, she's not as tall as I am, she's very friendly, she's warm. I have always been very shy. And so in my house, when visitors come in, you can be sure that I'm almost hiding under my bed. Why? I don't want them to ask me to come and serve a visitor. Bring Coke, bring Fanta, bring water. I just don't want to be seen. I just wanted, in fact, I remember there was a time when my mom had to remove the key to my door because she was always wondering, what is she always doing inside, locked up? And I think it became a worry for her. So she removed the key, and that was who I was. So when a visitor comes into my house, my sister is already there serving. Good afternoon, good afternoon. And everybody just liked her. And I was very skinny. I was skinny to the point that my father was always buying Complan, buying multivitamins, so I didn't feel good about who I saw in the mirror. I didn't think I was beautiful.
I didn't think anybody would like me, but here my sister was, everybody liked her. She was just so adorable. You would just gel to her like that. Glue, gum. But me, I was always hiding behind. And so I remember one day, I still remember it like it was yesterday. And I think I was getting to a point of being frustrated. And I just stood in front of the mirror and I looked at myself. And I really, really took time to look at myself. And all alone, I was alone, and I just said to myself, I was looking at the mirror and I was speaking to myself, and I said, this is you. This is me. Funmilayo. You will like yourself the way you are. You will accept yourself the way you are. You know, like Joyce Meyer says, be happy where you are on the way to where you are going. And that was the turning point for me. It wasn't a 360-degree turn. No. It was just a small turn. It was just an improvement. And from there, the process started. The process of liking myself, accepting myself, not being envious of my sister, because it was almost getting to that point. And I think that was why I had to address the issue. Because today she's my best friend. We are like this. We are like this. But if I did not handle that issue early enough, it was almost going down that lane of envy. And you know, when envy comes, bitterness, anger, frustration, all kinds of things will follow. So I was able to liberate myself. I didn't stop being the shy girl overnight. It was also a process. So that's why today we want to talk about who are you? Who are you? Who am I? We want to learn how we can cover.
My name is Dan.
So the topic before
Bluetooth disconnected.
Are we good to go now? Okay. So the topic before me is discovering yourself and your purpose. Being a go-getter and purpose-driven. You know, when Biodun writes topics, you will almost be scared. I remember the first day she asked me to come and talk, and she wrote the topics, and I had to beg her. See, I don't understand English. Can you break them down for me? So, me, in the simplicity of my heart, I just want it simple and straightforward. So today I'm just going to say, know thyself. If somebody says, who are you? You know, for some people they'll say, I'm a medical doctor. That is not who you are. I am a banker. That is not who you are. So we want to learn today. Some of you already know who you are. But I also want to say that life is a journey. And when you are on a journey, I mean, the kind of journey that life is not the journey of, I'm going from Ibadan to Lagos. That's my destination. Our destination till you know, that's the end. So it's a process that keeps going on and breathing, and you are alive. You will keep evolving. You will keep getting to understand who you are. So it is not a one day, like an exam. I know myself, and this is who I am. You know, like Rebecca said, some people will say, I'm melancholic, and that's who I am. I can't do anything about it. That's how I'm wired. No. Room for all of us to improve and be better. And you know, I just remember when she was talking about me raising my children. Somebody described me one day, and she said she has a white rug in her house. I didn't even know that she was just using it to qualify me. I said, I've never had a white rug. And she laughed. And she said, in your house, when you come to her, everything is just in place. But that's part of my personality, my temperament. I can't walk around clutters. I don't function well. But you know what? Over the years, I'm learning to relax. I mean, there were times when I would walk when my children were growing up and Pampers wasn't even so popular, they were using nappies. I will wash their nappies and iron them. Because I will feel that there's one, because I've tried it outside, there's one tiny insect that may be hiding inside it. I will iron everything. And now when I look back, I laugh. I say, "Back barrel, don't kill yourself, you this girl." So even now, as a grown adult, I tell myself, relax, just take it easy, just calm down, everything's going to be okay. So some of the things I used to do then now, I just take my eyes away. Not that I have become a dirty person, but I've just learned to be more relaxed. In my house, even when I decide that I want to rest, I am working from morning till night, giving myself chores that nobody gave to me. So I'm constantly worked out, feeling like I put in too much. Because there's always that tendency, when you feel that you are the one who is putting in too much, you begin to feel like somebody somewhere is taking you for granted. When really nobody is taking you for granted. It's a choice that you have made. So let us start. Most of all, when I say know thyself, that is the starting point. And it is about, most of us don't have a relationship with ourselves. We relate with our friends. We relate with our family members in school. We are chatterboxing. We play. We love to be around our friends. We relate with practically everybody, but we don't have an intimate relationship with ourselves. And people will wonder, how am I supposed to have a relationship with myself? I mean, you are your first love. If you don't love yourself, nobody will. And it starts by knowing yourself. When you know yourself and you have come to love yourself, then you have given people room to love you. It is not just that people just treat me like trash. There's a message I'm passing across to those people who are treating me like trash. And that is why they have that, they feel that they can treat me anyhow. So we all need to develop that relationship, and that was the starting point for me that I just told you about. When I was able to stand in front of the mirror and look at myself. And if I tell you I used to be very skinny to the point that in secondary school, they will come into the staff room and teachers will debate over me. Why is she this skinny? Why is she cooking Johnny? Don't they feed her? And some people will say, I know her mom, they in their house, so they have this with them. But look at me, if I tell you I used to be very skinny, you won't believe now. So it's life is a process, life is a journey. We are all on that journey. So start with yourself first. Become comfortable with who you are first. And the only way you can be comfortable with who you are is when you know yourself. When you know yourself and you have accepted yourself. But be careful, accept yourself, quote and unquote. You don't accept yourself to a point that this is just me. You better take it or leave it. You accept yourself knowing that there is room for you to be better. So that is the starting point. Begin to have a relationship. The way that when you have a friend, you long to see that friend. You long to talk to that friend. You long to, tell the friend. That is the way we should have a relationship with ourselves. That is the way that sometimes it's okay for you to talk to yourself. It's not that you are mad or anything. It's okay that sometimes you laugh. You think of something and you laugh. You do something silly and you are alone and you laugh. It's okay. It's okay for you to take a paper and write a love letter to yourself. And tell yourself, these are the qualities I have. It's okay to be sincere with yourself and even tell yourself, these are my weaknesses. But you know what? I'm working at it. I am a work in progress. All of us, we are a work in progress. So if somebody wants to run you down, you can just say, I'm a work in progress. I'm going to get better. So why do we need to know ourselves? If you don't know yourself, if you don't discover yourself, if you don't understand yourself, you have given other people the license to label you. You have given others the authority and the go-ahead to tell you who you are, because you have not told yourself first who you are. I was able to stop people from saying she's snobbish, she's proud, because I quickly addressed that situation. I mean, it would have been okay for me to remain the shy person that I used to be. I mean, not that it would affect anything, but it was sending a wrong message across to people. So before other people start to label you, and you know that we are quick at doing that. We all do it, except you are the kind of person who cautions yourself almost immediately. When I do something wrong now, I don't wait for somebody else to tell me. In my mind, I know I have done something wrong. If I look at you, if I just look at you in a way and in my heart I despise you, I will know. Nobody needs to tell you. But that is the human nature. But immediately you are able to bring yourself back and say that was wrong. And you rebuke yourself. And you just move on. But you know, some of us are not so in tune with ourselves. Talk less knowing when we have done wrong or right. You know, some people can tell you, I'm not jealous of anybody. It is a lie. Everybody gets jealous at one point or another. The important thing is for you to address that situation right there and just move on. So first and foremost, if you don't know yourself, other people will define you. Others will label you. And if you are not careful, you will buy into that lie. Because most of the time it will be a lie. Nobody should know you as much as you know yourself. Somebody was talking to me about my daughter one day. She wanted to, well, she wasn't even quite reporting her, but she was just saying, I call her, she doesn't pick her call, she doesn't this, and she went on and on. I was trying to tell her that, yes, I know she's very busy. I said, but you also know, as I was about to say, she said, Auntie, I know her more than you think I know her. I said, okay, if you claim you know my daughter more than I know her, no problem. I don't even argue with such people. So that's why if you don't label yourself, others will label you. They will label you faster than you can label yourself. So the earlier you discover yourself, the better for you. I wish I discovered myself much earlier. Because even that starting point was not even it for me. I still had a long way to go. Just like I still have a long way to go now. I still have a very long way to go. Because there are things that I still feel that I should be doing, I should have done, I should know. So there's no end to learning as long as you're alive. So don't let other people label you. Label yourself first. That's number one. So we're talking about why it is important to know yourself. Knowing yourself brings about self-love. Knowing yourself brings about self-love. You are able to love yourself. You love yourself so well. You know, you're almost romancing yourself. Sorry, I don't mean it in a negative masturbation way. You just love yourself. You can feel yourself embracing yourself. I don't know if you've been to that point. That is the point where I am. I love myself so well, I don't want to be anybody else. This is just me. I love myself so well. I've had struggles. I've had to deal with situations. I've had to deal with challenges. But you still come back to loving yourself. So, you know, now, I think more than before, we realize the importance of self-love. Body accept ourselves. That's how I was. I got married. I walked to the point that I fainted because I wanted to please everybody. Fumi, bring this, she's there. Fumi, do this, she's there. Fumi, I walked in, I practically fainted and I landed in the hospital on the wedding day. Because I wanted to please everybody. I wasn't thinking, and in my mind, within me, I knew I was getting weak. I knew I was getting weak and weak, but I just wanted to please everybody. But it won't happen to me again. It can never be possible. Because once I feel exhausted, you will see me, I will disappear. In fact, like Rebecca, when somebody is talking too much, I will just go quiet and be looking at you. Or if I can excuse myself, because it will weary my heart at some point. So I will just gently find my level. I know myself and I don't deceive myself. Important. Know yourself to the point that you can admit that this is me and you will not be. Because the greatest lie any human being can tell, it's a lie against yourself. When you begin to lie to yourself, and you know some people are like that, they're just pathological liars. They just lie. They lie about everything. What they can do, what they cannot do, they lie about it. So it's important to discover yourself so that you can love yourself. And when you love yourself, you will be at peace with yourself. When you are at peace with yourself, you will be at peace. It will be easier for you to deal with people around you. Because as we grow older, we all will learn to deal with people. In fact, when you become a mother, you will deal with your husband, you will deal with your children, you will deal with your in-laws, you will deal with workers, you will deal with people. All of us will be, eventually will be people persons. So if you don't love yourself first, be comfortable with yourself. After I started to accept myself, I became more comfortable in my own skin. I remember one day I was trying to tell my daughter, do this, how are you doing? And she said, mommy, please. I'm beginning to be more comfortable in my own skin. And you know it's funny, the things we teach our children, the things we talk to them, sometimes we don't know we are teaching them. We're just talking, we're just sharing our stories. They bring it back to us. So the moment she just said, I'm becoming more comfortable in my own skin, I just backed off. Because I realized that those are the things I had talked to them about. Because like I said, if you're around me, I just want you to be yourself. Don't try and be anybody. Don't try and impress anybody. Just be yourself. I remember something my father-in-law said to me. He just called me one day, and he's a very tough person. And early in my marriage, I was very scared because he was very tough. And for some reason, he just didn't. We didn't. How do I put it? He didn't love me initially, but after a while, he realized who I really was. And one day he just called me and said, "Fumi, come." He said, "Sit down." I sat down. He said, "Let me tell you what I like about you." It came to me as a shock, and he said he has been looking at me. He said, if everybody uses gold to sew their clothes, he said, if it is rag you can get, he said, the way you will sew it, you will be so comfortable in it. I mean, that's the best compliment I think I have ever gotten. And that just describes me. If everybody is wearing the most expensive thing, if it is this cotton you ask me to use to sew, I will sew it and I will just be okay. And I will carry myself in a way that you are wearing gold gone, you won't feel as good as I am feeling. I will be feeling myself seriously. Honestly, I will just be feeling myself and I will be so happy. So I think it's important. I mean, we won't be talking about all of these things if they are not important things. Because in life, it will go a long way. One other reason, knowing yourself brings about acceptance. Because, okay, I've talked about this. Life becomes less of a struggle when you know yourself. Life becomes less of it. You don't have to struggle. You don't have to struggle to please this person. You don't have to struggle to please that person. I realized that growing up, because I am a last born, and usually we don't have a voice. In the house, it's like last borns don't have a voice. Even though people feel they are the most spoiled, but you don't have a voice. You are the youngest. Your siblings, older siblings are there. Before you talk, they are talking. I have a sister who has a very strong, not even this my immediate sister, the one before. She also has a very strong personality. And if you are not careful, she will drown you. Her personality will drown, it will just naturally drown you because she wants to dictate to you. She wants to tell you what to do. She wants to tell you how to do it. She just wants everything done in her own way. And I struggled with it for years. I didn't love her less, but I just struggled with it because around her, I would have to be quiet. Around her, I would have to agree. I would have to this. I did not, until I got, I think, after I'd had my last child, that was when I was able to liberate myself. And because one day I just thought to myself that, is this how I'm going to go on? I can't, when I'm around her, I'm just too conscious. I'm expecting something. I'm expecting her to, she just has this personality that wants to drown everybody around her. And I just decided, I just called my brother one day and I said, you know what? I'm not going to go to so person for the next couple of months. And he said, why? Yeah, in January. I said, no. I said, I just need to rediscover myself again. And so I just stayed away from her for some months. I need to, and there are times when we all need to do it too. Again and again. I may still have to do it with someone else next year. I may still have to do it with someone else 10 years to come. I just have to step back a little. Create that space. Rediscover myself. Why do I feel this way about her? Because it wasn't about her, it was about me. I was the one who needed to make adjustments, not her. Because I can't change who she is. And she's even way older than me. I can't change who she is, but I can work on myself. I can tell myself what I will take and what I will not take. And then I can tell myself this is how to do it. You're not going to be rude to her. You're not going to be arrogant, but you're going to drive your point in a very subtle way, and she will get it. And after some months, she just called me and said, Fumi, you've cut the sand of our house. And I said, yes, oh. And that was where the boldness came. I said, yes, oh. And then we started retracing our steps. And today we are best of friends. So even my children say that, as much as I know that, my son will always say that, because there was a time when he had to stay with her. He said, big mommy can be too much. He said, but there was one day he said, I don't like big mommy's style, but I know she genuinely loves me. So that's the important thing. He said, I know she has my back every day, but I just don't like her style of doing things. She's someone who can come into this room and embarrass someone. This your dress is too short now. She's just not discreet. But she has love inside of her. But the way she will come across to you, you want to, I don't want. So you have seen that even after as a teenager, and I thought I had discovered myself, when you are with someone again, you realize you still have to discover. So this journey of self is a journey. It's a journey through life. When you marry, you will rediscover yourself again. And that's why sometimes we're in relationships, you have a boyfriend, and the boyfriend is possessive, and you think, it's because he loves me. You have to discover yourself. Before you marry, after you marry, in that shy, as quiet as I can be, when I need to talk, I will talk. And people will even be amazed, because some of the things people will shy away from saying, when I have to say it, I will say it. I remember recently that Abiodun said, Auntie, exchange. I said, yes, so before I don't ask people for things. Now, if I need to ask you for something, I will ask you. It's either yes or no. And this is a lesson my mother had taught me. Since I was a young child, my mother will say, ask. It is either a yes or no. Neither of it will kill you. But the problem is we don't want to ask, because sometimes we don't want no as an answer. And sometimes no is an answer. Even from God, no is an answer. So as much as my mom had drummed it in my ears over and over, it took me years. I love to give, but I don't know how to ask. And I know people who have fought me in time past. But now, if you come around, I will ask if I need something. I will ask. Because that's a new discovery for me. So you see that our journey of discovery till we die young. That's why everybody was shocked when Bill Gates and his wife divorced. Nobody knows what they've been dealing with. And I'm sure they also didn't know that they would come to this stage. It's a journey of discovery. So please, when you discover yourself, you don't struggle to be someone else. You know, Rebecca said it. She said there was a time when she struggled to be like someone. Don't struggle to be like anyone. And the only way you will not struggle to be like someone else is when you know yourself. Me now, even in my dressing, I want to be comfort. See, for me, fashion, it is first about comfort. It has to. If you buy me $1 million dress, if I'm not comfortable in it, I will not wear it. No matter how expensive it is. But you know, some people, it is fashion, no. Whether it is comfortable, it is not comfortable, the child must wear it. And if it is okay by them, what's my own? For me, you saw a dress and I can carry it and it's already heavy. I will ask you, where, how? Because after like gele now, I don't like tying gele. So all these, they are doing well. My head will be aching me after 30 minutes. I will feel like remove. My father's burial, by the time church service was midway, I had gone out to remove the gele. And because it was a Catholic church, I knew they won't allow, I stayed outside. I mean, I don't struggle to do some things. As long as I have a choice, I have an opinion and it counts, I don't struggle to do it. So in life, when you discover yourself, you will not struggle to be someone else. You know, we have friends and their personalities are different from ours. And some of them, if you are not careful, you will just catch yourself trying to be like them. Some friends are talkative and it's so easy. There's this girl on this Kiki girl. I don't know if anybody sees her on you. She always says it. She said as a little child, she has always talked. And she's making her millions out of talking. Obe, she's a sharp, pray girl. She says this is how she's always been. So imagine if her parents have tried to drown that talking in her. That's just who she is. Me, if I talk too much now, before I know it, my head will be aching me and I'll be like, how far? I was in my sister's house some years ago and her friends were around, they were talking. She just looked at me, she said, you swear, she already knows. I will just find a way to sneak out of that. That's why for me, I already know myself, so I keep my circle small. Because I can't deal with too many friends. Except all those friends that you can't call them friends. For me, a friend has to be a friend. So you won't struggle. And then it helps you to make better choices. If you know yourself, you will know the kind of choices to make. Either in your career, either in relationships, either every area of our lives. Knowing yourself helps you to make better choices. For me, to function well. I love good ambience. I just love it. That's why people talk about, maybe not, I realize it's not because I'm an interior person, but it is part of, and you see how it is linked together. Because I love interior decoration, and because my personality loves a very serene atmosphere. For me, everything just has, I don't want too much light. I don't want too much. I remember when I was preparing now, if I want to work on this table now, for me, everywhere has to be clear. Little things can distract me. Things as little as, okay, this flower I know is part of beauty. But things like maybe this sweet is scattered here now, for me it's a distraction. So I have to first pack everything. And for my mom, it was the opposite. When we were growing up, and my mom used to write a lot, so her table would be full. And when you are trying to clear the table, she said, please, just leave it. Just leave it. And she used to talk about, well, when you start living on your own, you can arrange your house the way you want. Just leave my own. She is comfortable having 10 different books on this table now. She knows where she has kept everything. She knows where she stopped. She knows where she wants to continue. Me, I'm not like that. So when people come around my house and they say that my house is for me, I've done it for myself. I've done it because I want to look forward to going home. I'm not an outgoing person.
So I spend most of my time in my house. So I want to be in a house where I feel good. Some people, my mom likes a bit of clutters, not because she's dirty, but I just discovered that some. And my last daughter is like that. She just likes clutters too. She's mommy, please just leave it alone. Mommy, just leave it there. Just like my mom. So you see where all those things come from. So sometimes I want to go into her room and I'm like, mommy, please just leave it. I'll sort it out. I'll sort it out. Don't worry. I'll sort it out. So I'm trying. Earlier in life, I wanted everybody to be like me. But now I'm getting to understand that everybody cannot be this organized. In fact, even this my organization, I'm trying to break it. It's too much. What is your problem? What is the problem? But it is just me. But you know, in that being me, I'm still working on that me. So there is no end to discovering who you are. So it helps you to get rid of unhealthy competition, which is very common, especially amongst us girls. Unhealthy competition. Somebody is around me, she's doing better, she's this, she has this, she carries this type of bag, she drives this kind of car, it just helps you once you have discovered yourself. And maybe more in secondary school or university, you will come across it as a working class person. You will just discover yourself and you will not weary yourself with what somebody else has and you don't have. Because life is in sections, is in seasons. Just the way that we have the rainy season now. And we just, when it was dry, we were all complaining, oh, it's hot, you open all your windows. Now we are in rainy season, the weather is cool. That's how life is. Sometimes life unfolds itself in seasons. I have a medical doctor friend. One day we were just talking and she said, Auntie, there's something very funny. She said when we were in medical school, she said some of our colleagues who came from rich homes, they already have cars that their parents bought for them, who live in good apartments. I mean, you could just see that they were different. She said, but you know the funny thing? She said life is a leveler. She said because now we are all medical doctors. She said in fact some of us have now bought cars for ourselves that are better than the ones their parents bought for them. So if you stay on that lane of comparing yourself to someone, it's very unhealthy. It doesn't give you peace. Don't let what somebody else has that you don't have. Don't even try not to let it affect you at all. Because there is a season of your life that will pass. And sometimes you are even looking at that person and you feel that that person has it all. You'll be shocked when you move closer to them. And you realize the grass is not always green on the other end. We just look at it from afar. Move closer, you will see some brown ones. It's not consolation. It's just telling yourself that I'm on a journey and I'm going to get there. I'm going to get better. So it helps you get rid of unhealthy competitions and then it helps you stay more focused. If you know who you are, you know where you are going, you will be focused. You will not be distracted. Every little thing is a distraction. This person has a new dress, it's a distraction. This person has bought a new shoe, it's a distraction. This person is using iPhone, me I'm still using Android. It's a distraction for some people. It just helps you stay more focused. This person's hair is longer than my own, no. This person's hair is taller than me, oh. This person walks in a particular. Do you know that some people copy the way someone is walking? Because we want to walk like that. In fact, when you look at white people, they have problems, serious ones. When you see them go through all this surgery, all this facial, adjusting my nose to be like Michael Jackson's nose, adjusting my bum to be like Angela, whatever. It just brings you upon you stress. Stress that you can just get rid of. Who wants stress? I don't. In my life, if there's anything I don't like, I do everything possible within my ability to avoid stress. If I realize that this thing, everything I can do, and that's why maybe as a melancholy, you just want to do things ahead. You want to plan ahead. You are organized. I know that, okay, tomorrow, if I leave this thing till tomorrow, it will become stressful. I'll just find a way around it. Anything if I just let it be. I remember when I was getting married, one prayer my father prayed is a very popular, Father, give me the strength to handle the things that I can and leave the things I cannot. The ones that are not within my ability. People now ask me if I don't want to go back to being skinny. I want to go back to being like her now, so that my tummy will be flat. I will be able to, it's just life. What we have at a point and we want to work on is what we begin to long for at another time of our life. You see that life is just funny, and we human beings, we are also funny. So our confidence level will rise. You will be more confident of who you are. You will be more confident to talk, to be bold, because you know yourself. You have accepted that, okay, this is who I am now. I remember that some years ago, it started 2010, and I had a medical health issue, and I was placed on certain medication that started making me to add weight. And it was another time of my life that I had to deal with, because I was used to always being a size 10 and size 12. And then suddenly, I rose from being size 12 and I became size 18. And then I had to deal with it till I came back to 14. But in between, I dreaded people who, in fact, I avoided seeing people. Because people I had not seen for a long time, the first time they say, you've added so much weight. And some people are just not discreet at all. They will just say, you've added so much weight. What happened to you? What happened to you? And it's not everybody you want. You just feel I don't owe you an explanation. And so sometimes I just smile. And if you are very close to me, I'll tell you, okay, I'm on a medication. And it started to get at me. And I started avoiding people. This started 2010. It became really more, maybe 2015, 2016. So you see that it's a process. I had to deal with it until one day I said, Fumi, what exactly is your problem? Okay, you've added weight because of this and this and this. And you know that when you stop those medications, you may not go back to your size 12, but you will definitely lose some of those weight. And I just said, oh, it's okay. So at every point in time, you will have to deal with an issue until I became comfortable. So if you tell me I've added weight, I'll say yes, so, and I will do like this. And that was how people will just keep quiet. But once they say you've added weight and they see you are beginning to feel somehow, they will now keep talking about it. They will just go on and on about it, and you will now be feeling so self-conscious. So if they saw me then and they talked about, I will just, I will just handle it well, and that will be the end of it. So your confidence level, then you give yourself a chance to get better at who you are. Okay, you have accepted, you have understood that this is me. Or tell yourself, I am going to get better. I'm going to be a better me. It's a journey. I'm going to be, and this is not just, okay, I've identified myself to be choleric. I've identified myself to be melancholy. But am I going to just be that? So that, there are some people. I remember a gathering I used to be some years back. And there was a particular lady that had a very grumpy spirit. And every little thing, this is how I'm wired. This is how I'm wired. Nobody is, God did not wire anybody in a negative way. Yes, your temperament may be a particular one, but that's not how that does not mean you can't work on it and be a better you. 2000 and I think about 2012, 11, I met an old friend who I hadn't seen in many, many years. And she came back from the UK and we had to hang out. And at one point she just said, Fumi, really, this is you talking to me, being friendly. I said yes now. She said you that in those days, if I come to your house, to greet God is a problem. She said, and then after a while she just said, "From me. Truly it is you." And I said, yes, it's me now. I've evolved. I've become better. I'm still my quiet self, but I'm friendlier. My father is a very quiet person. So I know that I got it from that. My mom is a complete extrovert. My father is an introvert. In fact, the way my father sits, he will cross his leg. He's a perfecto. If he puts a pin here now, and you move it from this point to this point, you will know. So when I begin to see myself in his shoes, I begin to tell myself, relax. So those are some of the reasons why we need to discover ourselves, know thyself, and then we move on to how. And like I keep saying, it is a journey, it's a ride. And when you are in a ride, it could be bumpy, it could be smooth, everything could go well, sometimes it could go wrong. So it's a race, it's a journey, it's a ride. How do you discover yourself? We talked about why you should discover yourself. And this how, it has to be intentional. It's something that you have to consciously do. Because if you don't do it consciously, you will not discover who you are. And one of the ways by which you can discover yourself, which now may even be very difficult for most of us because of social media, is spending time with yourself. That's the number one way to discover who you are. How much time do you spend with yourself? How much time do you spend with yourself? I need your attention, sweethearts. I need your attention. How much time do you spend with yourself? You know, some people who have that first temperament that talks too much, sanguine, they hardly spend time with themselves. Because they love to be around people. They just have to talk. And it's not like it's bad. Because that's their temperament. They are best when they're around people. I am at my best when I'm on my own. And that is just me. Sanguine, whether you are called, I've told you I'm not a specialist in all of those things. I just try to know myself. But whatever your temperament, spend time with yourself. You know, the way I will spend time with myself may be completely different from the way a sanguine will spend time with themselves. I am melancholic now from what Rebecca has taught us. Okay, my part of my temperament is being alone. So it is very easy for me to spend time with myself. So how does a sanguine who loves to be around people, who is the life of the party, who comes into this hall now and everything changes, how do I tell such a person to spend time with herself? But she still has to find time. Spending time with yourself, you take yourself away from the noise. You know, we are so used to noise now. Noise is part of our everyday life. And when I say noise, I don't just mean noise in the sense of verbal noise. Social media is noise now. Is the biggest noise around. Because sometimes now I have to consciously put my phone somewhere and run away from it. Because I realize that once I'm around my phone, we want to touch it. We want to be online. We want to check YouTube. We want to chat with a friend. We want to check Instagram. We want to tweet. And that has been taken away from us, unfortunately. But social media is the biggest noise around. So for me, sometimes when I want to be alone, it is a conscious effort that I put my phone somewhere and I walk away from it. That way, I have silenced the noise. There is the noise that goes on in your head, on your own, by yourself, that you will admit that sometimes you want to pray, and your mind is thinking of 1,001 things. You deal with those noise. So if you don't learn to spend time with yourself, you can't discover who you are. You will just tag along. If you know, there is this saying that I read from one of John Maxwell's book. He says the world makes way for those who know where they are going. When you know where you are going, the way your path will get clearer to you. But when you, like I always say, if you don't plan your day, and a friend comes around now and say, okay now, let's go to Shade's place, you will just carry your bag. As if she put something in her mouth to talk to you. You just carry your bag, follow her. Oh, you have to Shade's place. You get to Shade's place. Shade says, it's happening at Bode's place. And boom, all of you tag along. But if you have planned your day, okay, at so time I'm doing this, I'm doing this. If a friend comes around, and then I say, no, I have things to do. That's the way our life is. If we are not intentional, and you don't know where you are headed to, you will take a U-turn here. You will take another turn there. You will get there, you will say, no, Joe, let me take it. So they say that the world makes way for those who know where they are going. And one part of the things that the world makes way for is those who know themselves, who know where they are going, who know what their purpose is. That's why everything plus goal setting, plus knowing yourself, plus temperament is all inclusive in our purpose. Because I remember when I was much younger, and my mom kept telling me, she said, you will make a good nurse. Unfortunately, maybe if I was good at sciences, maybe I would have gone into the medical line. But I used to wonder that. And then one day I asked her, why have you been trying to encourage me to be a nurse? She said, because you are very caring, you know how to care for people. But for me, caring about people did not have to take me to nursing. Because it was definitely, my science was, just forget it, I was a literature person. So going into sciences was just not it for me at all. But you know, sometimes even our friends or people we hang out with, they can look at us and they can pick qualities about us that resonates with us, that we agree with, and we can say, yes, truly, this is me. Just like the way my father-in-law described me, it was just a perfect description of who I was. So we need to spend quality time with yourself, because it helps you to get to know yourself better. And then I told you, it requires moving away from the noise of whatever. That's why sometimes we need to have a retreat. There are times when I'm feeling choked up and I'm feeling like, I just need to get away. I just know it in my spirit, I just need to get away. I look for somewhere to go, even if it's a day or two. It doesn't have to be anything expensive. Sometimes you find, some years ago I discovered a Catholic seminary on the way to Ife. It's just, you can't be there and not live knowing yourself better. Because the whole, and you know how Catholics are when it comes to their environment, everywhere is just so peaceful, it's just so serene, it's so quiet, you can just take a walk, you can just stay in your room. We need it once in a while, it's called retreat. We think that it is only when we are in church and they say, let's us go for retreat. No, you need personal retreat on your own. You need to rediscover yourself at every point in time. 2 years from now, I will be a different person I'm not totally different person, but I would have evolved into a better version of me. Just like I expect that every one of us, by next year, or even by August edition, some of us would have added new qualities to ourselves. would have become more confident, would be more, I never thought I would stand and carry a microphone. You'll be more outspoken, you'll be more confident, but you won't get to that place except you retreat. You know, retreat means go backwards, just move backwards, move away from the noise, from the crowd, from what society expects of you. You know, society dictates. Society expects you to be this particular way. Your job description expects you to be this particular way. Even your family is expecting you. Everybody has an expectation of you. But you must first have an expectation of yourself. So one of the ways by which we can start to discover ourselves is by starting to help people. Starting to, I'm looking for a word, be sensitive to people around you. Be intentional about helping someone. You know, if I'm not the one talking now and I'm sitting down, it's always easy for me. Maybe someone is around me and is not happy. I'm always quick to notice that something is wrong. I mean, it happens to me a lot. I'm in a gathering and I find myself scribbling a note to someone that I don't know. But because I just sense something about that person. And that's why I was telling that young lady who said, I want a better life, that you must learn to be specific. A better life in what area? I listened, I can't remember if I read or watched an interview of a lady who went to interview, I don't know if it was Bill Gates, but one of these and she was given a check and told to write any amount. And she declined. And the man just told her, you've missed the opportunity of becoming a millionaire. Because any amount you had written was what I was going to give you. I mean, so many of us miss opportunities. Maybe somebody, and you know, they say that, Yoruba says that, Aṣọ ńlá kọ́ lèèyàn ńlá. The fact that somebody is not dressed in expensive clothes, that does not define the person. Sometimes we look at people, they walk into where we are and we just look at them and we don't really truly know who they are. Somebody is somewhere around who wants to help, but does not know what area you need help in. So let us consciously start to help people. If there was one thing I discovered about myself, it was welfare. I am particular about people's welfare. I just want you to be happy. If you're around me, I want you to be happy. If a cleaner comes in to clean my house, I want to know that person beyond cleaning. And it's not that I have the money. You know, sometimes I just ask myself, what is your problem? I'm already asking, why is she not in school? And I'll be asking myself, do you have money to send the child to school? But I always realize that when you take one step forward, God will meet you because He sees that intention of your heart. I don't think any artisan or cleaner, people who just come around the house, there is nobody I have related with over the years that I have not, by the grace of God, been able to impact their lives. Because I just want to know you beyond that cleaning. I want to know what area of your life I can impact. It may not necessarily be money. It doesn't even have to be money. It may be time. It may be just showing them love, just showing that I'm concerned about you. They bring in a child that is coughing. Okay, I did something funny the other day. I was just taking a walk in my neighborhood and I walked to a particular place and I saw a lady sitting down with a baby and the baby was crying and I walked. And when I was coming back, the baby was still crying. And she was just sitting in front of a shop that was a block of shops. It was closed. She was just sitting there. And I walked away. I walked a few, I just walked a distance. And my she was just on my heart. So I walked back. And as I was walking back, I was asking myself, what are you going to say? What is your own with baby that is crying? So I just walked to her and I said, Madam, when I was going, your baby was crying. Now I'm coming back and she is still crying. And they're alone now, what does he want? And she said, I don't even know. I said, maybe he wants a Papa No biscuit. She said, Mojare, I've been petting him. And you know, in my mind, I was just, as I walked back, I didn't know what I was going to do. That once you make up your mind to do something, God just leads you. So I walked back and I said this, that. And the next thing I just looked around and I said, oh, there's a woman selling sweets and biscuits there. So I just went back. I went back, I just said, oh, pick this. Everything I bought was not up to 200 naira. In my heart, I walked away feeling I had made an impact. Because immediately I handed it over to her. The child stopped crying. It's not about money. I spent only 150 naira. They took these different types of children's biscuits, 10 naira, and juice. Just packed everything and gave it to me. I walked away feeling I had impacted at least that moment. So you must always learn to look beyond yourself. You know, so I've had instances where I do things and I know in my mind that it is crazy. It does not make sense, but I do it all the same because I know that it's the right thing to do. And I always see the reward of it. So I think we must begin to look beyond my needs. I had some women who were coming to wash some items for me, and they were Muslims, and they used to come to wash for me. And when it was Salah time, I'm not a Muslim, but they are Muslims. When it was Salah time, I would buy different packs, milk, Bonvita, Milo, bread. I will pack everybody, give it to them. It is, see, you knock on doors, it will open. You know, from the little things I had been doing, it was helping me to realize that I'm just a welfare person. I just love to make people, I love it when people around me are happy. I may not be able to solve their problem, but I will be able to impact it in my own little way. So if you play your role, and she plays her role, and she plays, and I play my role, everything coming together will become a lump sum. And the moment you are able to look away from yourself, you will begin to discover yourself in some of the things that you do. Sometimes you want to offer your voluntary service. You'll be able to discover that, oh, that's part of my giftings, that's part of my purpose. That's part of my purpose. Some people give them, I remember when we were growing up, my older sister, she will pack all the neighborhood children in the house. I mean, for me, that wasn't, that's not me. I can love children, but I don't want too many of them around me. But it was, for her, it was the passion. Our house became like a mini daycare. You are going, just come and drop your child with her. So in helping other people, you are able to realize part of your purpose and your passion. There are things that if you wake me up in the middle of the night, 3 a.m. for me to come and do, I will do it effortlessly. It will help me realize part of my purpose in life and who I truly am. Why am I even here in the first place? So those are some of the things that helps you to realize who you are. And then be sincere with yourself. Be sincere with yourself. You know that, I mean, I was talking about impacting it. It could even be your talent. It could be your talent. I became an interior decorator because I remember the first church I attended. That's where Biodun and I met. I would just go there when nobody was around and I would do the backdrop. I would decorate. In volunteering my service, I was able to discover myself. So every every day when we wake up, every one of us must ask ourselves, help me to impact somebody today. No day should pass without you having impacted somebody's life. And you know, that's why I'm stressing, it doesn't have to be money. It could be your time, it could be your talent, it could be anything. When I saw my sweetheart dancing, I thought, hey, I wish I could dance like this. I mean, because for me, it would be more exercise, it would be moving your body. I mean, when I saw her, I'm like, wow. These people are moving their bodies. You know that they can impact the rest of us by teaching us also how to dance. And who knows, if from that point, somebody is going to start a dance school. I mean, now my mind is more open. I used to be all inclusive before, but now I'm letting go. I realize that life is made up of every kind of person. Everybody is not like me. So now I'm willing to know you. I'm willing to accept you, to understand you, to relate with you better. I hope we're all getting something. Then be sincere with yourself. You know, like I said before, the greatest harm you can do to yourself is when you lie to yourself. And some people, when I first heard, we were dealing with a situation some years ago, and somebody said, she's a pathological liar. And I just thought, really? So she's a pathological, that she will just lie about everything. Even when it's not necessary, she will lie. And this was years ago. And I think like 2 or 3 years ago, a young girl went to my daughter and she was just saying, can you just help me? I lie a lot. He said, when there is even no need for me to lie, I just lie. And some people are like that. Because they want to impress, because they want to give you a fake identity of who they are, because they want you to like them. So I think one of the things you can do, the greatest you can do to yourself, is to be sincere with yourself. Just be very sincere with yourself. In that sincerity, you will realize that, oh, okay, I know without anybody telling me, I know my weaknesses. I don't even need anybody to tell me. I can tell myself. The ones I have worked on, the ones that I'm still working on, the ones that I'm still having to work on, I know. Because I'm sincere with myself. So I understand that there are some things I'm not yet good at. So before I condemn someone else, I tell myself, yours is there. You know, there are like give and take in life. It's like give and take. You want to talk about someone else, but you suddenly remember. I mean, there are things I see people do now, and before I condemn them, I realize that, for me, God has just given you the grace to be able to move past this stage. You were like that some years ago. So that way you are empathetic towards other people, because you've been there. You've been in that particular situation. And you know, when you hear some people run down some things and you feel like, are you so perfect that you don't even have any weakness at all? So be sincere with yourself. If you are sincere with yourself, you will know. See, even if the whole world, that's why our politicians, they surround themselves with sycophants. People who can tell them what they want to hear. And that's what people want. What they want to hear, but not the truth. But if you tell yourself the truth, even if the whole world is telling you a lie, you will know that, it's like you go to a party now. Sunny Ade is singing, Abi Wasiu is singing. If you are not careful, you will spend all the money in your pocket. Because they will so eulogize you that you will be on top of the moon. And all those things they are saying, they are not true about you. But it's an emotional state of mind. And people have brought out all their last penny, all the money they had in their pockets. So just be sincere with yourself. Accept that this is who I am now. I'm going to get better. I'm intentional about it. And then,
Anybody who wants to, you can just tell me one of those things. I think let's even get 2 or 3 from different people. 3 things that make you happy. Sweetie, you want to tell me? I don't want to be fighting you. Yes. Just tell me one. Tell us one. Just one. Just one. Sorry? Contentment. Okay, she's going to give it. Contentment. It makes you happy. So, whether you have 100,000 in your account or you don't have in your account, you are content. Beautiful. Who else? Okay.
Everyone happy with me.
Sorry?
Everyone happy with me.
Everyone to be happy with you. I'm sorry to disappoint you. Everyone cannot be happy with you. That's the beginning of the downfall. Everybody, as I stand, everybody cannot like me. And I can't like everybody. So, that's, in fact, this is the best response so far. Everyone don't expect everybody to love you. Because everybody will not love you. It's not possible. Some will love you, some will not love you. That's why we have talked about loving yourself first. As simple as I am, my simplicity will make some people angry. For some people, it's what is it? What is it? What exactly is it? So everybody cannot like you, and you can't like, everybody can't be your friend, and you can't be everybody's friend. You understand it? So, first and foremost, like yourself. Some people will like you, some will not. They are not liking you does not mean they want to stab you, they want to shoot a gun at you, or they want to do anything. They just don't like you. They are just not their kind of person. They just don't, like I said, that I love to spend time with myself. Some people want to be boisterous and everywhere. They want, Beyonce said in my house we don't shout. In some houses that noise, go, is the cocoa of the matter. It is when they are shouting and you will think they are fighting. They will say we are not fighting, this is how we are in our own house, so this is how we express ourselves. So if such a person comes to my house where we are doing, they will wonder, what's wrong with them? Are they forming? And they will know that we are not forming. My husband is not even the quiet type, but he has had to maybe try and adjust. He's a completely, when he's with his people, you will hear his noise or voice on top of this thing. There are times when we are talking and I say, are you angry? He say, I'm not angry. Even in that I'm not angry, but you will be wondering, are you angry? He said, I'm not angry. So, you see, you have to just understand people. So, my dear, everybody will not like you. And you also will not, do you like everybody? No, be sincere about it. Do you like everybody? So don't expect everybody to like you. Okay? Some will like you and some will not like you.
My talent.
Your talent. And what's that talent, if I may ask? Oh, singing. It makes you happy. So she has discovered that about her. For her now, if she's being weighed down, I'm sure the first thing you will do is you will sing. If you are feeling angry, that's one of the things that can calm you down and make you feel at peace with yourself. When you are acting, so you on stage, we have a lot of stage people here. We have a lot of stage people. She says when she's acting, because maybe it gets her to play a role that she wants to be, or she wants to be able to explore different roles. Actually, drama is one thing I've always, at the back of my mind, though, somewhere far, I always feel that, and I will do it well, as quiet as I am. If you give me a role and I will play it, I just always feel that if there's something I have to do and I have to do it, I'll just do it.
But from it, you just now discover that, so I really can do this. Okay, our dancing queen. One thing that makes you happy. So you are a sanguine, Abby. Even from her dancing, you can tell she's the life of the party. If we give it to her, this place, she will clear everything now, and we turn it into a. I was really tripped when she was dancing. So that little exercise can just tell you who you are. It just helps you to discover yourself. It's not all of you, but if, like me, if you wake me up at 3 a.m.